I know a subject that is near and dear to Rhodesia's heart. We are not going to deep dive it, but we'll talk a little bit more about it on the actual show. But I got a opening question for y'all.
Okay.
The solar eclipse
Yay!
happened this past Monday. And if you're watching on YouTube, you see Rhodesia with her Ray Charles glasses on. I got a funny story about that too.
I got like a whole pack.
The next one is not scheduled for us to be able to see it here in the United States until August 23rd, 2044. Got a wrestling question for you.
Okay.
Out of these three options, which are the most likely to be a thing August 23rd, 2044? Number one, Roman Reigns' title reign is still standing. Number two, CM Punk is now the lead guy in NXT as he has replaced Shawn Michaels. Number three, your wrestling goats, whoever that is right now, are still your wrestling goats.
Isn't 1 and 3 kind of similar?
No, I said Roman's title reign is still standing, meaning that he's had the title in the modern day for whatever, how many days it was. Was it 1,800 days or 1,600 days?
16, I think. No, hold on. I'm gonna go with the former. I'm gonna go with Roman. I have to put the ones up. I actually can't see. Let me just take this off. It's making it really hard for me to pod. Hold on.
And that was me Monday trying to drive and look at it.
I'm gonna go with Roman. Will have his record still intact.
Hey, you know, it's funny when the eclipse was happening. I was actually in my office and somebody came in and was like, "Hey, E, you wanna come outside and see the eclipse?" I'm like, man, my black ass can see nighttime every damn day. I ain't going outside to go. I'm tired. I ain't going out there. I think they're gonna break Roman's record because this is my prediction.
Okay.
Carmelo Hayes is gonna be on one, and he is going to get a new contract in 2028. He only has to wrestle 2 times a year, so he's gonna win the championship. He's only going to wrestle at WrestleMania. He's only going to wrestle at the Great Saudi Show. He will hold the title for the next 28 years. He will retire as champion. He will go down as the greatest champion of all times with only defending the title twice a year.
You said Carmelo, right? Just so
Carmelo Hayes.
All right.
Is her.
Okay.
I did when I came up with those questions. And it looks like, too, if you are on YouTube right now, I think you're watching this. We are live according to our YouTube page. We tried to be live on YouTube for night 2, and we had a little bit of snafu, but as soon as we hit record here, it said we're broadcasting live on YouTube. So this is not
there we go.
Post night 2 WrestleMania. So I don't know if we can like edit that right now, but whatever. So you're going Rhodesia you're going with one. Mm-hmm. E, you're going with so which one are you going with then? So the most likely to happen is Roman's title reign is still standing. So then you're saying it's not one. So then which one you got? You got Punk being the lead guy in NXT, or you got your GOATs still being your GOATs? If one of them had to happen.
I guess Punk, right? He'll be what? We're talking about 20 years from now?
Maybe 60, 5?
Yeah.
But somebody's got to lead it.
But that's okay.
Well, I mean, I think he's in his late 50s by now. So, I mean, I guess it's possible he'll still be doing that right into his 60s.
So then I'm going to just, for the hell of it, I'm going to go 3. For me, it was between 1. Actually, it was between 1 and 2. I don't think my GOATs are going to be my GOATs 20 years from now. Just because if you think about 20 years, so you're talking 2004. The Rock is still there, but Roman is absolutely one of my GOATs for sure. And he wasn't even a thing like that on WWE TV in 2004. So I'm going to assume by 2044, there's going to be somebody like, I could see Tiffany Stratton being one of my female GOATs. Mm-hmm. I could absolutely see that. I mean, and of course, if we're talking 20 years from now, there's somebody that's going to be in that pipeline, maybe even AEW too, 10 years from now that could take that spot. But if I had to pick, I think they're really going to protect that title reign for Roman. He didn't get to that Bruno spot, but I think he's going to be that person that they point to and say, in the modern era, he was the longest reigning champion of all time. So that's the one I
Agreed.
think is most likely.
I just don't think Punk will be with WWE or working in a wrestling capacity. I know not working as a talent, but I just don't think in 20 years from now, Punk will still be there. I think that's probably I would take number 3 over number 2. I could see my GOATs still being my GOATs because you got your Roman, your Rock, Undertaker, who holds a special place in my heart. And I forgot who I said was my 4th right now, and John Cena. I don't know how that would be broken. When it's all said and done, yeah.
Yeah, we shall see. It's gonna be fun though. It's gonna be fun. All right, y'all. Let's rock this thing. Let's properly intro the podcast. Welcome to the TFW podcast. That's Freakin' Wrestling, the best kept secret in wrestling podcast. 3 the hard way. Back at you. And this is episode 124 of this podcast. I am your host, Matt, joined by my 2 peeps, Rhodesia and Eshaun. It is a little bit later than normal. So shout out to y'all for sticking with us. Typically, we drop like Wednesday morning. That's when we drop. But another busy week for all of us. I was actually on the road earlier today, and I didn't get back home till 4:30, I think, Central Time. Back in Michigan, celebrating my aunt's funeral and her life. So we were able to do that on Tuesday. I'm getting my days mixed up. So Monday, I'm taking the drive. And Rhodesia's been talking about this lunar eclipse forever. And she is solar eclipse, excuse me. But she is a massive sci-fi person, right? So a lot of my science I get from her, because I was not passionate about science at all 10, 20 years ago. It was like sports, video games, music, and that was it.
And wrestling.
So she sends me driving with a 10-pack of these glasses. Now, a couple years ago, we had an eclipse, and I was able to see it when we were working, things of that nature. And I think for some people, yes, it is a thing of just the environment being darker, but you're supposed to be able to look at the sun and you actually see what the sun looks like. So I'm hearing a lot of people are like, oh, it wasn't that big deal over in my area. It didn't get too dark. I'm like, well, you want to look at the sun. So I'm trying to drive, and I'm like, all right, I'm on the freeway. Not too many people are in front of me. Let me put one of these glasses on and see if what I see. I put the glasses right in front of me, and it is pitch black. And I'm like, damn, okay, maybe this is a defective pair. Get another one out. Same thing, E. And I'm like, all right, so then let me read the instructions on the inside. So now, the font is super small. I'm still trying to drive. Sure. And I'm trying to read it, and it's telling me what to do. And I'm like, maybe I need to peel off the front. Maybe that's why I can't see anything. So I was like, let me just look up and see if I can see the sun. So I'm looking through the sunroof. And
with your glasses on or no?
Now with my glasses on.
Okay.
And now I see it. And I'm like, oh, that is super cool. That's awesome. So now it's freeway's a little bit busier, so I can't continue to do that. So then in my infinite wisdom, and I know they say don't look at the sun without your sunglasses on, but I'm like, I just want to see. I look up for it wasn't more than 5 seconds. All right, cool. I do it again. And for the next 40 minutes, I swear, I had this blotch of just darkness in my eye. So I'm glad I made it safe and sound. But I almost crashed for the love of the game, for the solar eclipse. Because there was no way I felt bad if Rhodesia sent me driving with that 10-pack and I didn't even use it. But 2044 is the next time we see it.
You'd be proud because your son did the exact almost same thing. He got a little confused on what was happening, and he put them on, looked up, saw it, somehow looked back up again without it on properly, and now he's hitting the ground oh my God, I can't see. So
legend.
Legendary. 2 peas in the pod.
So I was able to, so that was Monday. So Monday morning hit, and I was on the road, and I was really able to kind of just digest the entire weekend. When you do, other podcasters can probably definitely agree. When you do a live post show, you are immediately just kind of going off your emotions, right? There's a lot, maybe you forgot, maybe you're trying to take note while you're watching the things that, okay, that was a big deal, but you're just kind of going off of in that moment, how you're feeling. So Monday, I was kind of really able to kind of digest it. And
this is why you were blind?
I was on Twitter before I got blind. I was on Twitter and somebody had posted the clip of Rock and Taker going face to face. And I was like, and I got that feeling, right? I was like, man, like what they gave us really was incredible. Just that entire last 5-minute stretch was probably the best 5-minute stretch of any wrestling I've seen from just a wrestling story standpoint, not moves and such. So I'm like, man, I got to send this to my dude because he would get a kick out of seeing Rock and Undertaker face to face. And I go to save the video and I go to hit his text thread. And I was like, he's not here anymore. And I like, it hit me like where I was like about to like really get emotional. And it was a combination of, we got paid off just 24 hours ago of what we've all been so invested in. Roman being the champion. And I think if you wasn't a big fan of Roman during the Big Dog era, and you were doing the Tribal Chief piece, and we even saw it on Raw, the Thank You Roman chant. Everybody likes Roman now, if not loves Roman. So it was that part of just like, man, this investment we've had for 4 years is ending. It was the crowning of Cody Rhodes, which you know how much that means to him. It was seeing Taker. It was seeing Seth come back in the Shield. It was like all of it. It was just like, so it was like a whole lot of emotion like at one time. It was just like, man, like that was really, really cool. Right? Like what we saw was just really, really cool. So let's start there. Let's kind of start with maybe just like revisiting WrestleMania. So anything that you guys want to discuss about Mania, we can do. I kind of just want to like right now just talk about that main event again and what we saw and the emotion that is allowed, I would say now from WWE. We saw a lot of tears on night 1 and night 2 from Samantha getting teary-eyed, doing the call for Sami Zayn on night 1 to night 2, just completely losing it, trying to call for Cody Rhodes. We saw Michael Cole in tears when Cody goes to hug him. And Seth, do y'all think Seth's gonna be gone for a while? Like, was that some type of send-off, you think, for Seth?
At first, I was like, there'd be no way. But then just the way he teared up, it was just more behind that. And again, we know that it's still real to us, and I'm quite sure it's still real to Seth too, but it was a little bit more than what I expected. Or I didn't expect any tears from Seth, but it was even more than what I would thought would be fitting for the situation, for the coronation of Cody Rhodes.
Yeah, I could definitely see him going away for a little bit. You know, letting him rest up. You know, he just came back from an injury and wrestled, you know, high voltage in 2 matches back to back, right? Straight from an injury. So, you know, it might be good for him too to take a break, get a refresh, right? And then he can come back as that, you know, returning hero. I mean, we do got the draft coming up pretty soon, so we might see him then. But
right.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind him taking a couple weeks off.
I'm thinking more than a couple weeks, just because of how emotional he was. So he cried when he lost to Drew, and he's crying, and he says to Drew, "You fucking deserve this." And then he cries at the end, and who knows if he's crying because it hit him with the whole Shield thing, if he's just crying because Cody's winning the title, if he knows this is like a new era, or he got wrapped up in it, or if I don't know. I'm only like, just once again, I had time to process it. Like maybe he is getting some type of surgery done on his back, because that back injury was a legit thing. And
he's been ever since the first Nakamura and him. It was always his back.
Yeah, he was really emotional. Every time we saw him, he was crying. And like, I love it, because that means you feel something right there, right? It means something to me, man. So I'm hoping he's good. I am hoping he's good. But after having, I guess now 72 hours, you know, or so to digest just Mania and just that main event, any updated thoughts, feelings on what we got?
No, like brand new enlightenments or, oh my God, I remember that, because my emotions is just pretty much what they are, and I'm passionate about that. I'm probably still angry that Undertaker chokeslammed him and chokeslam Rock, and that was it of the Rock. But like he said on our night 2, that it's that the mystique of that actually getting a chokeslam by the Undertaker that should finish you. But in my mind, again, I'm thinking like, no, this man barely got Rock off the ground, and you telling me that Rock is done after
You being disrespectful too. He had some nice height up under him.
No, he did not.
Rock can't jump up 8 feet, like, but he got some.
No, he
got
did
some
not.
height.
He got 12,
some
like
height.
I said on the night show,
again.
2-night show. It was like 12 inches. He probably got 10 inches. Actually, that's probably the new enlightenment I saw. And Undertaker's my favorite wrestler.
You can't, as a wrestling fan, do that. You know, so number one, that's a coordinated spot. So Undertaker got to get him up too, and Rock got to get his A up there too. So you got two dudes into their 50s, right? You gotta give a little bit on that one now.
But all I'm saying is, you took one choke slam. You just wrestled the night before against two spry young men. You tell me you took one choke slam from the Undertaker, but I got it. I get it. But it almost feels like, and I know we've already had a pretty busy week, it just feels like it's been so long ago, and it was something that in the whole emotions of the whole weekend too, and with death and with life, it's like the cliche phrase of you would have rather love and loss than to ever loved it all. And it was almost kind of like how I felt when it came to WrestleMania. Like I said it on night 2, like I just want to pause time in wrestling, because I don't know if we will ever get anything this great anymore. Just take it for what it is, and just know that, hey, I'd rather have had this, experience this, and it be over, than to never had to feel these emotions before. Or, you know what I'm saying? So for me, that's just kind of where I'm at with it. I'm grateful for it. And I guess we'll talk about Raw in a little bit, but that kind of is my feeling. Nothing new, but it just already seems like it was like 3 weeks ago, and it was just a few days ago.
Man, I told you guys during the pod, you know, my emotions are usually somber anyway. I usually get more emotional after the fact. Actually, I'm kind of in the mode. I kind of like to keep, because even when he won, I stood up and put my arms up, but it wasn't like a pop. It was just I just kind of stood up and put my arms up. Katrina was watching it with me. You know,
what did she think about it? I don't think we talked about her reaction to Mania. Like, just stay there for a second. What did she think about the main event? What did she think about the show? Like,
so she only watched that last match, and I would say she probably watched half the match, right? So if you kind of think about that main event, it was kind of like 2 parts. You know, part 1 was just, you know, a straight match, Roman and Cody, and then part 2 was when the Bloodline rules finally kicked in and everybody started watching. That's when she started watching the match. She started getting into that. And I would say, you know, talk about, like, she's not really a fan. Like, she gets kind of caught up in when it's a big deal, and that was a big deal for her. So when the Bloodline rules started, that's when she finally put her phone down and she started paying attention. Okay. She didn't really react to anything specifically that I remember. But again, I'm not paying attention to her either. I'm like watching myself, right? So we're both kind of watching, and, you know, at the end, you know, she didn't really, you know, it wasn't a pop from her or anything. But I know that she was happy that my guy won, so she's happy along with me. But for me, you know, I said it, you know, as a big Cody fan, but I just think as a wrestling fan, you know, talk about her name. That was freaking wrestling. And that's wrestling done right, because I know that, you know, I'm a Roman fan as well. I've said that I've tried to, during this whole run, not to undercut him in any kind of way. But, you know, when you watch the movie, it's always, ending is always best when the hero finally triumphs. Like Roman, for whatever it is, he was the bad guy in this story, and the hero overcame. And you think about it from top to bottom, like the emotion that was in that crowd, how the entire arena erupted. Think about Samantha Irvin. You know, she's announcing the winner, Cody, and she's popping out of her seat, and she can't even, you know, give her that announcer voice. You know, you hear the excitement and the elated in her voice, right? And then you got all the guys coming out, and, you know, everyone's just so happy in this moment. And that's what wrestling is. It's supposed to make you feel something. Yep. At the end, any great movie, cinema, if it makes you feel good at the end, that's even better. You know, you think about something, you know, when's the last time so many people just felt great, you know, from after watching like the end? Just being happy at the end.
He's talking about wrestling, right? He's talking about from wrestling.
Yeah, I'm talking about wrestling.
Man,
right?
I think you would have to, as a like, if you had a pie chart, this would be number 1 for the mass general public who watch. We've had NXT Black and Golds where at 10 o'clock that show went off back in the day, and we were just like, yo, this is the best wrestling show I've ever seen. That was the best ending to a wrestling show I've ever seen. That's not the vast majority, though. That is, you're talking about it. NXT back then was like the hardcore watch NXT, and kind of still to a certain extent, I think it's like that now.
Yeah, definitely.
But like,
definitely,
if you're talking like, you're talking WrestleMania 30, but it wasn't like this.
The last one.
You're talking
That's
Kofi.
closest. Yep.
You're talking Kofi at 34. It wasn't like this.
No,
yeah, there was people crying in the crowd when Kofi won, but that was more history of like, man, a black man got what he deserved, and finally he is in legendary status now. It was not because, oh my God, this story with Daniel Bryan. No, it was, and that's the thing, E. Like, when you kind of really just sit back and think about what they gave us, and they just checked every single box. I was telling Matt yesterday, the reason why it worked so well, and I probably went back and watched the last, is really, if you include like Cody in the ring and, getting the hugs and all that, it's probably 15, 20 minutes. But the actual match is like 6 minutes, where like it picks up, like E, like you said, when it hits the fan, is about 6 minutes in or 6 minutes left. And if you just started watching WWE when Cody came, you got completely paid off.
No
if
doubt.
you were watching wrestling when Dusty Rhodes was wrestling, oh my God, it takes another level, right? So you take care of the newer fans, you also take care of the people who've been with you forever. If you just started watching WWE when the Shield started, you got paid off. Once again, high payoff, right? If you just started watching a few months ago when Seth dropped that line of "I'll be your Shield," you got it. So what they did was they really took care of anybody who's watching. They can connect to it. And I think that's why the emotion was there. And for me, it was just like they really paid attention to everything they've been saying and doing. The same thing with like the Drew and Seth, like they really, this was planned. There was no hot shotting. This was not a situation of, okay, well, the fans want Cody, so let's just give him the belt. Just have him win in the middle, 1, 2, 3, and then we'll reset it all on Monday. No, you can tell this was an entire story that they really, really focused in on. And like, when you can make that happen, and to your point, when everybody is happy, yeah, like if you're just a straight bloodline person, I understand not being happy. This one guy online I saw, he was crying. He had the glove on. He was decked out with like 3 championship belts. It's like, dude, you should listen to the TFW pod. We would have told you how this is going to go down.
But you know what, Matt? But you got to give it up too for Roman, because this moment wouldn't have been available for us if we didn't have a great villain. Like, right? Like his 4 years on top meant something when somebody finally knocked him off, right? Because in order for a hero to really, really be over, he got to have an excellent villain there too. And that's just that's what I was talking about as far as like the story of it all, right? We're talking about 4 years really in the making, right? Of, Roman Reigns being on top, being a terror, right? Just dominating the company, knocking off all the top baby faces, like, right? The bloodline, the constant interference, like the same old finishes, right? Mm-hmm. Like, it's almost like, all right, whoever goes against Roman, you kind of know what's going to happen, right? You get this match, right? Those same things happened, but someone finally overcame all of that.
It just didn't work.
Like, right? I mean, that's awesome storytelling. That's just awesome storytelling. And, we'll tie this into something else later on, but that's why I said this for me, man, that was like, I can't think of another WrestleMania or even match where there was this much story and character investment, right? Where you cared about the villain. Because if you think about it, this is almost like a Batman and Joker type, right? I don't know if I think Roman might have even been a better villain than Joker, right? Because at the end of the day, I don't think anybody ever rooted for Joker. And he was kind of cool in certain spots, but just a really cool villain. But you still want to see him get his because he's been on top too long, doing too many dirty things. Here comes the likable underdog, babyface, finally champion, knock him off. I mean, I can't think of a wrestling story that I'm aware of, right? For being a wrestling fan for 80 years, I can't think of any storyline that's had this kind of character investment for this long that was this good. And we talk about, honestly, so here's the thing. We talk about match of the years. Hell, man, this
Don't
might
do
be
that.
my match
This
of the
is
year.
it.
Don't do that.
No, like
okay. Don't
This
do that.
might be my
This
match
is
of the year.
Remember what I said? I
Okay,
don't have to
Rhodesia.
take
No,
my
we
time.
apologize,
No,
Rhodesia.
Now, hold
We
on. Now, hold on. Now,
Yes,
hold
yes,
on.
I got it. No, you got to apologize to me.
Hold on now,
Matt
Rhodesia.
I got an apology out of Matt. You got to apologize.
Hold
to
on
me.
now,
apologize,
Rhodesia.
Rhodesia.
That was Matt. I never said anything.
Okay,
Don't lump me into that.
I'll take that then.
Yeah, I never said. I said like usually some. I'll be here for some of your stuff. I'll be like, okay, I feel what you're saying. Okay,
But no, but you're right, because I mean, yeah, you can talk about Hogan Andre, right? You can talk about like the most important matches. I don't think we will ever say. I don't think we would say that main event night 2 was the most important, but nothing I don't think is going to touch it, honestly, in my fandom, because I don't think anybody else is getting to run like Roman got, and that does mean everything. And I think that's also part of the emotion of it, is because we know the work he's put in. And then the other part of it too, and I wouldn't expect anything less, but that just speaks to the leader that Roman is for that company. Him coming in, arguably the best shape of his career, right? We don't know what he was looking like when he had the tactical vest on, but my guy had abs.
This is the best Roman.
And he's coming in the best shape of his life to lose.
He's ever looked. I'm just
To
being honest.
lose.
Yeah.
That's, at the end of the day, yeah, they won night 1. He didn't get the pin, though. Rock got the pin, but he came in looking like that.
Yeah.
To put Cody over, which I think is why we got that smile at the end.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that like it was incredible. It was fantastic. And then can't forget about Cena too. That's the other part. You got like either like Roman's your goal of this time, or Cody maybe your goal, and then everybody else's goal is Cena. We got it all wrapped up into one thing. So
hey Matt, real quick before you go, let's stay there for a second. I'm thinking about stories, right? I think Hawk and Savage might have been next for me, right? Because that was about a 2-year story, right? Kind of a 2-year story. Macho turning, Macho was a hell of a villain, but I don't know if Macho was. I want to say villains. I still kind of feel like Roman is tops. I think the next, you got that one, and then you got the Hogan Sting and NWO. But the payoff wasn't there, right?
Hell yeah. No, the payoff wasn't there because they screwed Sting at that Starrcade. Yeah, I mean, that was a dud, because that should have been the same thing. We were setting everything up for Sting to
hell
get
of a
his
villain,
moment.
popular babyface.
Yep. And we never got it.
I know that it's tossed around just so often, but it's just undeniable the comparison between what we got in the Bloodline and what it took Marvel 11 years to accomplish. And I say 11 years just because Iron Man, the first one, came out, I think, around 2008, and Endgame was 2019. And the snap is like probably what people felt when Roman won last year.
The snap was WrestleMania 39. Yep.
Yes. And to me, when I remember watching the snap, I'm like, yo, like it was a feeling that you could, like, I know that this is fake. I know that this is movies. And then the feeling I felt, and then just imagining Cody in that comparison to when Captain America got up one last time. And he's gonna die.
He has no shot.
Nothing at all.
So that was the end of night 1, WrestleMania 40. That spot where they got the shot again of Rock and Roman walking up the ramp, you got the same shot with Cody just looking. That's the Captain America spot of I don't have a shot.
And in my insides and my feelings, I have never felt anything like that the first time I saw the snap in the end game. This is the next time that this felt like this, where it wasn't a real life thing. Because in my world, it's real. It's still real to me. Like, I had all of the true emotions as if this was happening in real life and it wasn't predetermined, just like how it was in Marvel. And like I said, I know we've thrown that around a lot. Again, you were the first person to mention the comparison on all of the podcasts.
Hey, let them know.
And I know we throw it around a lot, but just for real, let's take that in for a second.
Yeah.
We got this, in 2 years worth of storytelling.
And so how about this part too, Rhodesia? We knew Endgame was coming.
Mm-hmm.
Right? When we saw Infinity War, you knew Endgame was coming. It wasn't like a situation. And if you read the comics, you knew kind of some things that was going to happen. There is no comic book for this.
No.
You are just hoping they make the right decisions along the way, and you just got to be there. And now I think when you talk about this Triple H era, yes, there's gonna be times where we still are going to come on this pod and be like, why are they not pushing ABC? What the hell were they thinking in that match with 1, 2, 3? But I think the days of like, what are we doing here? Are you seriously telling me like you set that up and then you just completely shit the bed on it? I think those days are gone because we never got any of those moments in NXT Black and Gold. Yeah, there were people that we didn't care about. Lars Sullivan. I was like, all right, I see what you're trying to do with this guy, but okay.
Ugh.
But it was never a moment where you were just like, oh, this is horrendous.
Yeah.
And we got a lot of that.
Wait, no, IMI.
Who's IMI?
Insulting my intelligence. IMI. That's all. That's right.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Yep, IMI. Like, yeah, that the IMI is not going to be there for some time because even if he drops the ball to me in my fandom, he's already built so much equity that it's like, okay, I'm gonna give you that one. All right, I'm gonna give you that one
because you know they'll fix it too.
Yep.
If it ain't working, we'll fix it.
Yep.
You know, like the difference too. Like I feel like Vince, right? And as I'm thinking about Vince, I'm thinking about Steph. Like, I'm not sure if you guys saw the presser, but you know, Triple H said that Steph is back. I'm not sure
She's
what
back.
capacity.
Yeah.
So I think that's huge. But going back to Vince McMahon, I just felt like after this is why I lost because you know Matt used to always call me a Jade fan, right? I was a JWE fan because Vince just never gave me what I wanted, and I never felt like Vince knew what his audience wanted, and to me, I felt like he was one of those guys. Like he has a way that he wants to do, and he's going to stick to it. Damn it, okay? He was right about he was right, and we were wrong. He knows what we want. I feel like Triple H, and even Tony Khan, they are more forward thinking. Like right, I think they listen.
Yes.
Right, I think they listen more, and they're not caught up in the trope of, hey, this is the style of wrestling that I'm going to give you, like it or not. Like I feel like Triple H is always going to pivot. I feel like he's going to have, even if he doesn't have the post himself, I think you have enough people around him that constantly keep him engaged and keep the show floating. Because we've already seen it from their production, from just the pivot we saw going from, going away from Rock and Roman to back to Cody and Roman. I think if Vince McMahon still was there, we would have got that match regardless.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Because again, at the end of the day, Vince would say, "Who are you to tell me what to do? I have ran this successful company for decades." And there's truth in there. There's truth in that.
I was going to say that. Yeah, when you're a billionaire, you do think you're right. And I do think he thought he was doing what was best. But when you're 80 plus years old, we're not getting Dreams and Nightmares Night 2 starting off after Cody just lost. Dreams and Nightmares, like everything they did, it was just like, man, this is perfect. And like, to your point, and like even with Tony Khan, like nobody can ever say Tony Khan is not trying to do what's best for the fans. His execution may not be there,
right?
But him spending wrestler salaries on entrance music for one night because he knows the fans or the wrestlers want that, or him saying like, I got to get this talent in and make these dream matches because he's trying to do what's best for.
No, because that's quite the contrary. That's the one thing I always respect about him. I think he's always has the fan in mind. It's just that he caters to the hardcore fan,
right?
Like right, and that's his mindset. He's in tune with the hardcore fan, right? He's in tune to what made him a fan, and there's a huge niche audience. Now, I'm not sure if he watched WrestleMania, like right, and if he can pick up some things and say like, dang it.
Oh, we talking about Tony. Okay, got it.
Tony,
TK,
right?
Okay.
If he can pick up some things like, yo, maybe I could add some elements to my show, right? Because he got to keep his show unique. But I mean, maybe we'll talk about it today, maybe we'll talk about another day. But it's hard to say, okay, my show is for hardcore wrestling fans who love great matches. We talked about night 2 having bangers. I feel like night 1 had some bangers. So if you're gonna take matches and you're gonna rate like the match quality between AEW and WWE, if AEW has the higher work rate, right? It ain't that WWE ain't that far off,
right?
Like right. But the thing about WWE, they have all these other things. You know, they have 4 years worth of story that melts into another story. They have the super production. They have like all these awesome things that's characters you care for and stories that your people are invested in. You know, they got dreams and nightmares. They have all these different elements that just add to it, right?
Mhm.
And guess what? They're not just giving you 2 hours of content. They are pushing out 5 to 8 hours of high quality content a week.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just going to be difficult for AEW if all they're giving us is, great matches, because we're getting matches that are pretty close. It depends on who you talk to better if you're into certain styles.
Yeah.
And we
So let me ask you guys.
real quick, Matt.
Go ahead, Rhodesia.
As far as because y'all are mentioning H being forward thinking, and we know that to be true because you even listen to the talent. They have always said that he will listen to you. Like, and there were times where people didn't even get to talk to Vince. So again, and I know that times are
Well,
different.
Vince listens to people too, though.
I would say pause, but that's not the right usage of pause.
There you go.
But then I also look at, and it could be this too. Maybe H's, and I don't think so because it was before when he was in NXT. This has kind of been on par, but maybe his health and his heart is making him like this, because in the press conference, the narrative that he kept pushing is, I just want us to have fun. And that's some powerful ish to say. And you running $1 billion company, I just want to have fun. You don't hear that from those big top people. And that's just one of the things, maybe because he has had heart issues where maybe he can't get his heart worked up. He even joked that he has a defibrillator and, to jumpstart if it needs to, but maybe he can't be tripping. So the way that I'm going to run my company is I'm going to run it from the heart, but I'm also going to do it to where my team is also having fun. And I don't think Vince looked at it that way. I think he looked at
any good leader takes the good things and the bad things from their prior leaders and they implement it in their leadership when it's time. And he absolutely has learned from Dusty Rhodes. He's absolutely learned from Vince, because Vince has always said, book the shows as if you're a fan. Vince just had his way of what he wanted. So Triple H has also seen how everybody was on pins and needles backstage, and people didn't want to come into work, and people wanted to leave the company because how they were treated. So when he says that, because he knows, like, if everybody's enjoying themselves, well, if we're having fun, you best believe that the fans are going to have fun. And look what's happening right now. So we can for sure say, for a 100% fact, we were all right in regards to
I'm going to always
the creative is going to be better when Vince McMahon leaves.
Oh, yeah.
100% now. What did you guys learn about WWE this past weekend?
That they are willing to take a stand with making sure they live up to the diversity and inclusivity more than what I probably would have had expected. Yeah, I know Philadelphia is Meek Mill's home, but it's just something different. Like, I really felt like it was for the culture. Night 1, night 2 was for the culture. Like, it was. And it felt organic with it too, even just to the Star Spangled Banner and God Bless America. You had presentation there too. Like, to me, is in the way they and I hope that some people don't look at it like they're just doing that to check a box, because I don't feel that way. And being a person who is brown, I don't feel like that they did that. But what I learned is that they are willing to put their money where their mouth is, because some people still don't accept Black people. Let's be honest, they don't. We see it all the time with Bianca, but they're saying, nope, I'm gonna have this show kick off with a rap song both nights. You're gonna have Lil Wayne come out. So just all of that to me is that they're willing to put their money in the mouth to help support and be an ally to the community, the nation domination.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm with you on that too. I honestly didn't. I don't want to say. I just thought it was really cool, because I don't know if there's anything specifically that prompted that type of representation. I'm here every minute for it. Loved it, right? But I don't know how Mick Mills got involved, and he's opening these shows, doing monologues, and he's dropping music, and then we got the people performing the way we got performed. Like, I don't know what prompted all of it, but I love it. But what I learned is that, man, WWE, and this is what I love, because this is, I always talk about, like, man, like, you know, as we're getting older, I feel like it's always important to keep pushing forward. Like, not rest on your laurels and what worked in the past. Like, hey, how can we keep moving forward? Because I always say, like, if you're not growing, you're dying, right? And you think about, like, the different things that they've done with their production, you know, the rap infused interests, like, they are really trying to grab the pulse of a newer audience while also maintaining their core fan base and making their older fans happy. Like, for me, the company has never been more fan friendly. Like, right? Wrestling overall has never been more fan friendly. You know, WWE really seems to be in tune with their audience right now, pushing things forward. Like, AEW is trying to do the same thing in their own way. Man, what a great time to be a fan, that you can have these different avenues to where you can say, okay, I can watch this show and I can find some awesome things to engage in. To me, WWE is just ahead right now. Like, they're just winning every level. I love it right now. I can't wait to see SmackDown to see what they got going on for me on that show.
What you learned?
What I learned, I learned that we're here.
Yeah.
And I know E knows exactly what I mean by that. Rhodesia probably do too. But to take it another layer, and I tweeted this out on Monday. So follow us on Twitter if you're not. That's FNW. Where I talked about when in June of 2022, Triple H was named head of creative for WWE. And I immediately sent E a text. And I said, this is the worst case scenario for AEW. And he said, you think so? I said, absolutely. And not that AEW is, it has nothing to do with AEW, right?
Mm-hmm.
The AEW is not going out of business. They're not folding. They're fine. They're going to be more than fine. But what I mean by that was Triple H is going to give us, as the fan, and give the wrestlers everything that he can outside of monetary contracts. I think that's why they've lost on some of these free agents. Mm-hmm. You know, Mercedes, which we know she's going to go back. Okada, Ospreay, they're getting more money at AEW for less dates. So if you're the talent, for sure. But in terms of the environment the talent wants, he's going to give them much more than what they had before. And from a fan perspective, we're going to get everything that we want. No, we're not going to get blood every week. But we've said this also, give me blood when it matters. So blood is back when it makes sense. Okay. Cussing is back when it makes sense. Okay. Mm-hmm. The talent has a lot more freedom in cutting promos than they did before. Okay. For me, when AEW first started, those were my top 3 things that I loved AEW about. The shows felt more organic and real. I don't care if you mess up. I'd rather than that than act like I'm watching some type of sideshow play that has been rehearsed 2 million times. So there is no mistakes and everybody sounds the same and everybody has the exact same cadence when they talk. We got blood and we hadn't seen blood in forever on US television. And then
it's been that long?
Yes. And then we were getting cuss words. And sometimes a little too much, but we got that. So now we're here. We're here in the moment of from June 2022 now to April 2024 that I talked about 2 years ago when I said this is their worst case scenario. And if they are stamping this as you haven't seen anything yet, this is just the beginning of, we're not even in it yet. We are in for such a treat because if it wasn't for AEW, I can also argue we don't even get WrestleMania 40 the way we did.
Yeah.
Well, we wouldn't because Cody wouldn't be.
Yeah, Cody.
As a,
he wouldn't be. He wouldn't be.
Yeah, his stock wouldn't have been there, for AEW. So I love it, man. Like I am just so after having a couple days to really think about that show because we do move on quick because we have to. We're recording this Wednesday night during Dynamite. We haven't watched Dynamite yet. Then we got SmackDown on Friday. So it's like, okay, if we could have just let WrestleMania live on our post shows, but I thought that show was so fantastic. I kind of wanted to give it one more show of just like, hey, let's revisit it and kind of talk about what our thoughts were. One last thing kind of around Mania, and then I got a question for you about the 4 Horsewomen that I thought about. So let's put a bow on Roman's title reign. Just your thoughts.
Gone too soon.
I gotta be honest with you. I think Indy when it was supposed to. I think it was the right time, right? Because like it's for me, the last year, with him not being around as much, the bloodline cooled off a lot. I felt like some of the matches and some of the outcomes started becoming kind of
Predictable.
Yeah, very predictable, right? And I think that he lost the championship before it all got stale, right? Before it over, like right before he outwore his welcome, as champion. Because now we can look back and we can say like, damn, one of the best runs in history. Because it was. I mean, you talk about like the bloodline, and he was a big part of it. I thought about the bloodline too. Like, right, like not only was Roman phenomenal, I felt like that last year hurt him not being around as much. But I think also Jay leaving the nest and flying on his own kind of hurt the whole thing too, because he was a heart and soul of that group, right? And so without him, without Roman being around, like I just felt like the bloodline just kind of wasn't what it needed to be that last year. So I think overall one of the greatest runs ever. I think that it kind of this chapter in the bloodline, whatever the next chapter is going to be, I think it ended right on time. And before we leave the whole thing too, man, we got to talk about what Paul Levesque said about those free agents he didn't get.
What he said?
But go ahead. Oh, you hear what he said?
I think I heard it. Are you talking about what he said on, was it Pat McAfee's show?
No, I think this is during the presser, I believe.
Okay, so what did he say?
He said that he, to sum it up, he said that he wants people who are here that want to work. Right. So he's like,
that's right.
so guys, if they want to get more money and to sit home and not work at this stage in their careers, then I didn't want them anyway.
He's snitching on Roman too.
But, and that's a little petty. But I mean, what else is he supposed to say?
Yeah.
Right. Like
a lot of things. He didn't say that.
Like that's kind of petty. But when you are winning, you can say things that you couldn't say when you're losing, and we know that.
Yep.
For me, with Roman, I think the title reign is going to be looked at completely different if we didn't get Rock's involvement. The Rock's involvement in the storyline and for Roman added, to hell with a new coat of paint. It added a brand new car and a house with it. Because if you think about what that story would have been if Cody would have just stayed the number 1 contender in January after the Rumble, what are we doing for 2 months? Outside of, we've been here before last year. You can't beat me. You're not finishing your story. You're not around. I need to take the title. Like that's okay. But with The Rock coming in, completely added so much to this. So I think that's a godsend for that, because we are going to look at this, to your point, E, as like best run I've ever seen. And I don't think that him not being there hurt it when you look at it now in totality. Of course, during the time, it's like, dude, what are we doing? You haven't only worked 4 times like this year on TV. Like, what are we doing? But him working more wouldn't have helped the run. It may have hurt the run because he had beat everybody.
Yeah.
So it's not like, oh man, he's ducking this guy or he's ducking this guy, or man, they really got this guy sizzling and heating up, and just give him to Roman and see what. No, he's done that. And we got to talk about too one day, which is beautiful, the chemistry that Cody and Roman has. We've seen them wrestle now twice. And I know a lot of people didn't want to put 39 on their match of the year list because of the finish.
I did.
39.
I did.
40 night 1, 40 night 2.
I need to redo my list. Yeah.
You typically do not get your 2 best, most popular stars with incredible chemistry. That typically does not happen.
Man, if they
And
do
they're-
like, I don't know if they call it a biopic, but if they do like a little
Cannot wait.
document, like a little montage, not montage, but they do like a little 30-minute thing on like the Rock and Roman feud, like and include all those matches and highlights, it'd be something to watch.
Yep.
Like, right?
I mean, in 10
man.
years from now, when we get the true, granted, what we got with Roman, that was again give him his flowers, and I think everybody pretty much knew it at that time too. But when that came out last week, but when they come out with the real bloodline on A&E or whatever channel it's
No,
going to be on,
put that on. Well, it ain't gonna be on Peacock, and they may
on
be owning
Netflix.
that.
Put on
Who knows?
Netflix.
Wherever
It'll be on
it's going to
Netflix.
be
Yes.
at.
That is
right?
going to be masterclass. Probably just as good as the 2 years we dealt with it. But when that finally comes out, when they talk about everything, not in character, oh man.
I got one for you, and then I got a question about the 4 Horsewomen.
Okay.
I don't think I asked this on night 2. I thought it on night 2. So tell me if I asked it. I don't remember. All right. So this is Roman's next stage, April 10th, 2024. Okay. So we just say chapter 1 was the entire title reign with the bloodline. So now we're in chapter 2. Which chapter is going to be better? This next story that they're about to tell with him, or the bloodline story?
That's a very good one. So because I'm an optimistic kind of person, let me roll with this is going to be better for Roman, because it is true that the people who were not true Roman to the core, they kind of was stale by Roman last year, 2023. So I'm going to say that this is going to be a better chapter for Roman. Maybe not for wrestling. I don't know how I feel about that yet, but for Roman, better.
Gosh, man, I might skip on answering that, man. I have no idea, man. I don't know what's next for him, to be honest with you, right? Because Rock, when he comes back, he said he wants to wrestle Cody, and that makes sense, right? Because sometimes you close your eyes, you forget that Roman was involved and all of that, right? Because there was a lot of heat that Rock was putting on himself, like, right? And I don't know if Cody got all his get back. Actually, he didn't get his get back.
No, because he lost
Talking
on
about
Saturday.
his mama and beating him
And he
down
lost
with the belt. Yeah, and
on
he got
Saturday.
pinned.
Yeah, he got pinned. Yeah.
Right. So like there's a story to be told with them, and we don't know when Rock is going to be back to tell that story. Hopefully sooner than later. So if the next time you see Rock is going to be against Cody, what do you have for Roman? I don't know, but I know there's a lot. There's a huge, like the man is super young still. I know he has another high level run in him. I just don't know what it is.
I'm easily going the next thing we see.
Oh, it's going to be better.
Easily. I think easily. Okay. And I know what we saw. So I'm not forgetting. I know we got the bloodline with Jimmy and Jay, and main event Jay came out of that. I know we got the bloodline with Sami Zayn, and that birthed a main event of WrestleMania last year for the tag team titles. I know what we just got with The Rock. That none of that is lost on me. But I also know now Roman is going to be universally loved if they don't go out of their way to make him a heel in his next first few appearances. Who's going to boo Roman? Why would you boo him? There'd be no reason to. To the point where he got the thank you Roman chant, because now everybody can appreciate him because you're no longer holding the belt hostage and our guy got it, right? So whenever our guy gets it, and hey, everything is great. I'm going to skip the 4 Horsemen conversation till Sunday because you led us right to Raw, because he led us right to Raw. So I want to get into that opening. I thought that opening segment was one of the better opening segments I've seen on Monday Night Raw.
Even for the Monday after?
Yes.
Mania? Okay.
And I say that because it had a completely different feel to it. H comes out. They hit them with the thank you. And he's like, well, I came out here to say thank you. Right? Who's a bigger face? Cody Rhodes or Triple H?
Triple H.
I'm going to go Triple H.
They're both up there.
I'm going to go Triple H right now. And he's leaning into it for sure. He's doing everything he can to get that fan service. So Cody comes out. They show a video package. You can tell that package was not we're going to show this video package package. That was a package that I'm sure they did. I think he was telling the truth
A
about
legit
that.
story that it was just for Cody, and he
Yes,
was like,
because
nope.
they had TV monitors out there. Now, if we know anything about WWE,
Yes.
they want clean.
He called it bootleg. He called it bootleg. Yep, he did.
Hey, look, we got a video. We don't have to try on. Y'all sold this bitch out. So here you go. Here are these monitors.
Kevin Dunn is rolling in his grave right now.
Man, he rolling in his grave, ain't he? Him and
he done
Vince.
rolled all around, ass is showing and everything.
He's still alive though.
Man, rolling in his grave. Rest in peace. And then they cut. They have the video, and then they show the 2-shot with Cody, and you can hear the crowd's reaction to the video, where you can still hear the video. Like, y'all know I'm just a sucker for production, that kind of stuff. But that's incredible. And then so we get the handoff, and Cody cuts a hell of a promo, and then The Rock comes out. And The Rock being a master, I know some people, Bush was like, he thought it was awkward. I think it was only awkward because Rock was just allowing the crowd to gas themselves out. You can't cut the promo that Rock cut if the crowd is consistently booing and hitting them with the what's. It's not going to hit the same. So he does his thing, and he says, hands him some and says, if you ever break my heart again. What did he give Cody?
A dime
Any
bag.
idea?
I have no idea what he gave that man. I have no idea what he gave that man. Maybe that smart. He could put in his hand.
Maybe it was a note that he had written a long time ago. Maybe it was something between them two. Maybe it was the original swerve that I thought it was going to be because he was going to align with Cody and turn on Roman. Because I was that person who thought that up until night one, the end of night one. But maybe just a note. Maybe it was a wrapped little piece of note.
I can see that note because we still haven't found out why Cody originally agreed to stand down for Rock. Right. And then even on the Pat McAfee show during the interview, he said that, hey, why? Right. He's like, hey, I'm going to let Rock tell that story.
Yeah.
Right. So maybe it is something as simple as a note, like something he wrote to himself, or maybe Rock wrote him, or maybe Cody wrote Rock something. Who knows? Or maybe something like that. Because it's something that can fit in his hand. He's able to put in his pocket. It didn't seem like it was I can't imagine it being a locket or something like that.
And whatever it was, it resonated with Cody.
And Cody knew exactly what it was. And he said it. He said, you know exactly what this is.
Yep.
Yeah. Or it could be like a $20 bill when a grandma used to hand it off to their grandkids. Could have been that.
I saw somebody say that's how I used to hand crack when I was a crack dealer. Somebody said that.
Lord. It did seem like a transaction. It did seem like a transaction, man.
It did. It was a dime bag,
But sticking with that that opening thing, man. So your boy, man, he's sucking for family. And then, like I said, I was on that journey with Cody, and you saw the different phases of him getting to that point. I did I felt a tear up. It didn't come through, but I felt like a tear up. I love that whole entire video. And then, when they will show Cody. And I don't know if he's that good of an actor, but you can tell it's generally he's getting emotional about it. You can see this the happiness in his face. And I like seeing happy people, right? And you can just see the happiness in his face. And it just felt like it was just a feel-good moment. And then I love, especially at the very end of that video, when, you got the picture of Dusty Rhodes throwing the championship, right? And then it fades into Cody throwing the championship.
Yep.
Man, what a great video.
And that's what I'm talking about, right? Just how can you not feel that? Even if you think Cody's crying and he's not really crying, right? He's just putting on. How can you still not feel that?
How can you not?
So I would say this. I would say that I was still very butthurt the next night. So watching Raw, I'm like, yes, give him all of the pop and circumstances that you can give him. And I was even happy too because he and Triple H acknowledged Roman in their kind of acceptance speech. But after a while, I was like, okay, this is still too soon for me. Kind of like how I felt when the Lions lost in the playoffs. I didn't really even care about the Super Bowl because it was just too soon for me. So that's kind of how I felt. And I knew I was jaded at that time because I still love Cody. But because I think that segment in totality went 45, 47 minutes. To me, I was like, by that time, I'm like, okay, I'm done. I'm tired of hearing Cody talk. And he got baby Liberty talking about, he's the story. So cute was making me angrier.
He's
But
like,
it's
I
because
hate
again,
you.
yeah, but I love you because you're so damn cute. But because it was just still too soon for me. But for somebody who this is what they've been waiting for, I'm glad they got all that and more. And that video package was awesome.
And I'll tell you just like how big of a sucker I am of I don't know if it's realness. I don't know if it's common sense. I don't know if it is them really embracing like the intelligence of their fan base. I don't know which one it is. When Rock said, I'm going to be gone for a while, as you guys know. How awesome. Like, I just thought that was fantastic. Typically, we would get night after WrestleMania, if it's a part-timer, they don't speak about him again until we see him again.
Yep.
Right, but when I come back, though, I'm coming for you.
Yep.
So
I was lost for a hot second, but I was okay with it because of him asking to kind of hold his belt, hold his championship, and then that kind of went down. And I can see maybe where you said Bush had a problem, maybe how Rock came out, because there was times where he was letting absolutely the crowd gas themselves out. I'm like, all right, Rock, get to your point a little bit quicker, so I can kind of maybe see where he was going with that. But I loved it because he's like, all right, and he's like, let me hold yours. Like just that whole exchange between the two of them. Granted, Cody never even put it on his shoulder. He just held it because I know he's like, no, I know how you are. You probably take this and run. He's like, I'm gonna hold yours. But I thought that was just a really cool part in exchange between them two. But leading up into it and getting there, I was like, okay, what's happening here? Like, is he about to like take him out? But that wouldn't make any sense. He just said,
No, I didn't like when they said that this is awkward. I felt that was awkward too. Like, I
felt
don't know.
a little weird.
Because so all right, so this dude done whoop your ass with a belt, made you bleed with your mama name on it, right? And now you gonna let the man, you gonna hand the man your title that you just won? Don't hand that man nothing. It was a strange. It was a strange thing. Now here's the thing. I feel like it was maybe out of character, right? But I know it was like a story thing they probably both talked about, and it got to the point to where Rock can put on the shoulder and say, "Oh, this seems right," like right. So now they kind of can tease like, okay, Rock is coming after the championship, and okay, and how does Roman feel about that, or whatever the case may be. I get that, but it just doesn't seem like in the moment that here's like this guy who shed your blood, that you're gonna let him feel a championship that you worked so hard to win. Like that was a disconnect for me. I would say like that was the biggest negative I have had from that one. I get what they were trying to do, but I just felt like that was stupid. I was willing to look past that.
You know what the biggest negative for me was?
What's that?
When The Rock was out there talking about no fireworks. No fireworks. Like this is on the up and up. And the show didn't have any damn fireworks. And then doubly upset. Today it comes out. That is going to be their set going forward to get more fans into the building and to simplify their production. I'm good with not having that massive screen. What I'm not good with, though, is not having those booms, the proper boom. So if you guys don't know, like when you hear the booms like Judgment Day, they get the booms. That's like pyro. When they go to that type of setup, it's just a sound they play over the speakers. And it sounds nothing like a firework in the arena. We're missing that. And okay, good luck doing Cody's entrance. You can't.
They asked him, say, listen, you want Roman?
Stage.
They was like, listen, do you want Roman to beat Hogan's? You want them to beat Hogan's record, or do you want to win his championship? I win a championship. All right, well, I'm taking all your pyro away. But hey, I signed it. I'm gonna have pyro.
Man. And I know, man, I'm sure I'm in the minority because I put that up on X, and I think only one other person said they had a problem with it. Lakers 23-24 said business is booming. If you can put more asses in seats, why not? I get that for sure.
Yeah, I'm the same way. And honestly, like those things I know you're mentioning, like it's the same thing with the set. Like once I'm actually watching the in-ring action and what's popping backstage, I'm not really paying attention to like all those things. So we'll see.
Specific Cloud said, I love the simplicity of it. Has an old school feel, but still modern. I agree with that, but I'm missing the pyro. Derek said, I love the new stages. It's new. We need new things in wrestling in our lives. So in my opinion, it's awesome. Wrestling makes the world. Take says, makes sense. Good for business. Devontae is the only person who agrees with me.
Hey,
He says-
Devontae.
Devontae
He says,
Swing,
I
Go
get
ahead,
it, but I think
Devontae.
it's trash.
25-year-old king.
Let's go.
What do you say
As
again?
someone, he said, I get it, but I think it's trash. As someone with a film degree who loves production,
Oh,
the
there we
giant
go.
pyro and entrances are handicapped with these super small stages. That was the only thing missing to me was Cody's title entrance. So,
So I would
but-
say live, being on TV, it doesn't matter because we're going to get the production that they show on air. But being live, I've said that about Survivor Series. I say that about any of these big stadium shows or certain shows where they don't have a stage. I hate that. So I know whenever we go to another WWE show, live show, not having that, and if it's not like a house show, that's probably going to be like, ugh, to me because I'm short. I already can't see. I probably need my eyes checked out a little bit more. It's hard for me to see that far away. Like at Survivor Series, like I told you, I saw, who did I see? I think I saw Drew come out and maybe one other person because how tall they were.
Yeah,
I
they're
didn't
12
know who
feet.
came out. Yeah,
That's
and
why.
that's
It's the only
it.
reason
I
why.
can't see who the person is. I rely on those Titantrons, and plus I like it too because it is a vibe. Like I could only imagine if we went to Mania and me being able to see EO's entrance there. Oh my god,
Man, I gotta
So-
tell y'all something, man. I like cousin Dwayne was like, "Yo, E, you guys, the TWF podcast needs to be at the next WrestleMania."
we will be.
No, he's not. Listen to this.
I'm going for all the funtivities, right? We gonna do all that, but I'm gonna sit at the bar and I'm gonna watch WrestleMania, man. I'm not sitting in them big old stadiums, man, looking up at the Titantron, spending $2,000 sitting in some seats, and I still can't see what the hell's going on. I'm good, okay?
But I get that. That is so
good.
valid.
I want to be able. I don't want to have to get up and walk, 15 miles of change to the bathroom to go take a pee pee. I want to be able to walk right around the corner, right to the bathroom, come back within a matter of minutes. All good.
Well, let's declare this.
straight.
Let's declare that our show is going to do so well, and we're going to be in suites, or we're going to be with media, and we will be able to do that. We'll still be live. We'll still be able to see. And if you got a pee, we have a suite bathroom right there,
pee pee. You got to urinate.
Yeah.
You got to piss. Don't say pee pee. Jesus.
or the bowel
Well,
movement. So urinate and bowel
One of my
movement,
guys
just
on
right around
X,
the corner.
Austin, went to the show, which was his first Mania. He loved it.
Oh wow, he's hooked.
Which I told him, I was like, dude, you're gonna like absolutely just love it. I forgot where I was going with that. You talked about going. You talked about watching the Tron.
Being in there with too many people, can't see.
No.
A long way to walk.
What did he say?
Be there for the festivities and fun, but don't care about the show. Spending $2,000 a
Damn.
ticket a seat. I just ran through everything that
Oh
you
well,
just said.
yeah. I can't remember.
And
it was
then the
something.
food
It
ain't
was
even that
something to the
good,
fact
man.
of-
You know what I'm saying? You go
No,
sit in
the
them
food
lines.
is not that good.
Yeah, you spend like $30 on some food
Mm-hmm.
just to still kind of be hungry. No, I'm good. I'm good.
Damn, I can't remember. All right, whatever.
But hey, I do
Eternal-
want to hit a Wale Mania, man. I've never been to one. I know you guys went to
we're
one.
doing that.
We got to
we
do a
are-
Wale Mania.
Yeah.
We are
That's on
doing
the
that.
list.
Eternal sent us 2 questions, both really good. Well, not even a question. He had a prediction. I want to get your guys' thoughts, and then one is a question. So he says, bold prediction. It would not surprise me if they put the title on The Rock with the help from a returning Roman. The Rock bullies Roman for weeks, turning Roman babyface in the process. What y'all think?
So just maybe walk me through then. Is Rock already champion when he is making Rock his protege? Or is it he's
I don't
gonna
know.
manipulate him?
Just take it right there. Yep.
Um
But how would you like if they put the title on The Rock through a returning Roman? Or, because he says bold prediction.
and just that comment there, I mean, I
Mhm.
would love it because I'm quite sure if Rock's name's gonna be on it. What's his name? David Gwirtz. What's his name of his person
Gewirtz.
who? Yeah, if you got him, you got Roman, you got the wise
Gewirtz.
man, Paulie. They're gonna make sure that it is beautiful. So I'm down. I'm behind that because again, Roman's MO has always been family. Even when it was down with the Shield, it was about his people, his group he was loyal to. So yeah, I don't have a problem with that. I can see that happening.
I don't know if the Roman coming back was ready to relent the head of the table moniker. Like, I don't know if he's ready to say that he's not the number one guy. That's what he'd be essentially doing, helping The Rock,
Mhm.
grab the championship. And then number 2, I'm kind of over the part-time champion or the seasonal champion. Like, Rock wins, he leaves again for a matter of months, Now we're putting the story on pause, or we have Jimmy and Solo, or maybe they bring Zilla. What's it, Zilla? Fatu? What's my man's name?
Well, you see, Jacob signed.
Did he sign?
He signed. It's official.
Nice. I did not see that.
Little Matt was pissed about that. He was like, "You tell me on Monday that he was signed."
He was like, "He could show up 24 hours ago."
Yeah.
Oh no, that brother ain't showing up on no Mania now.
And then what's name signed too? Don't forget your boy.
Who that?
Taku's son.
Oh, Tamatanga.
Tamatanga.
Oh, got him right
So
there.
so we know there's gonna be something added to the bloodline part of it. My bold prediction would be we don't see Rock and Roman interact until it's time for them to start feuding. Because I don't want to. Roman is over for Roman and Cody. I don't want Roman going back after the title. No,
I don't want.
It's over now. The story I want to hear is where's your clout at and where's your stroke. Now that you lost the title, how are you the head of the table now? You don't have anything. So what does that mean for Jimmy? What does that mean for Solo? So like, who's going to bring in these new Samoans? Is that a Rock call? Is that a Roman call? Is that a Solo and Jimmy call? And now Roman's on the outs. So like that faction is still heel against Roman. Like that's for me. That's my bold prediction because I think they have something now. I think they really have something with the crowd appreciating. Imagine Roman hitting that acknowledge me line and he's a face.
But that would be batshit crazy. But what you said there, like, but isn't this all about family? So if Roman didn't have the side of his bloodline because for whatever reason, how we got there, I don't know if that just makes sense to Roman. Like, how would that then look? I mean, I guess he would. The last time we saw that, he was a big dog, and we saw how that turned out. Granted, Vince was in charge of the pen, or the book, but I don't know. I don't know about that one. I think I still like the first one better.
Yeah, because I think what you would do is you would have the bloodline turn on Roman. You wouldn't have Roman turn on the bloodline. He's not going to turn his back on his family because he's never turned his back on anybody.
I get that. Yeah. So, but then
he's still not over Seth.
No, he lost his title because of it. But to me, then it's just I think he would just be lost, and I don't know if I want a lost Roman.
That is the story that they need to tell now. Because how is he not at rock bottom? He can't come out. Next time we see him, he's going to come out though, like he's going to come out and act like everything is all good. He can't. We haven't seen this man. We've never seen this version of Roman Reigns without the championship. Ever. Even when he came back in August at SummerSlam, and then he won the title a month later. So this is foreign territory. So for him to not say, I want my rematch, or I demand a rematch, or whatever that is, it's got to be a story centered around his family or the bloodline that we already see on screen. It's got to be one of the two. So returning or new Samoans or Samoans that's there.
I gotta be honest. I don't think we're gonna see a too drastic of a character change with Roman because he's not around enough to really go through the paces of the story. Right? If he's only gonna pop up a couple times a quarter, right? That's not enough to kind of really go through the hit bottom rebuild stages. We could very well see a face Roman, but he doesn't have to change much about himself to kind of be a face, to be honest with you, right?
At all.
And they can tell that story, whatever that may be, with him continuing on as he is, right? Just with a different focus and a new mindset.
Different way of saying acknowledge me. You switch a little bit of tone. It's a what do you want to talk about? It's a hustle loyalty. It's there, and he just signed that Jordan brand deal. So we got to see him. Eternal asked another question. So here's the question. He said, who do you think is dethroning Damien Priest?
D-Robin?
Dethroning, sweetheart.
Oh.
For me, it's Drew at Clash of the Castle. If
he's resigned.
He doesn't resign, which shout out to y'all. You two called it. Remember, I was like, there's no way. It's 100%. I was wrong. My bad. He is not signed yet, according to Sean Ross Sapp. He still's not signed. They said there's a few months left on his contract. Both sides feel like they're going to have a deal in place. I do wonder what the hangup is, but I'm going to assume WWE is not worried because You were just in a co-main event match at Mania, and then you're going right into a CM Punk feud. He says if he doesn't resign, he thinks it's Finn because there's a story to tell there. He said Damien was the one that cost Finn the title at SummerSlam. Yeah,
Both
Finn's got to resign too. Eternal, right?
Both these people got to resign.
And you know who else got to resign? And we'll talk about it also on Sunday.
Ooh.
Becky Lynch.
Becky, yeah.
Oh, yep,
Becky.
yep. We talked about that.
She's also got to resign. So,
hey, look, man. Tony has released 20 people. He gonna sign all these people, man. We gonna see Punisher Martinez. Not Punisher. I'm sorry. Why did I say Punisher Martinez? I mean, we're gonna see Drew Galloway.
It was supposed to be Martinez.
Yeah, that was his name, but his contract is no. We're going to see Prince Devitt.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to see Drew Galloway, and we're going to see Rebecca Lynch, all in AEW having 5-star bangers and no stories soon.
If that was to happen, if that was to happen, who do you think would be the best out of those three?
Because I think he's best fitting for the AEW culture. As from what we see today, I think he have an easier transition into their whole ecosystem.
You know, I feel like Finn would be good too, because he seemed like I haven't seen many interviews with him, but he seemed like he's a laid back cat. It seemed like he'll be somebody that can easily kind of blend right in to like their culture. Right, he can have those matches that they like to have. Right, he fits kind of that style. I think a little bit better. I think with Drew, like, he's a big guy, right? That's the only thing about Drew. Drew doesn't wrestle like a dude that's 6'5" and almost 300 pounds or whatever it is. Right, he can probably fit that style too. But I think that Drew going there will be a huge deal, especially if he continues the character. Which he could, right? His name is Drew Galloway. We're gonna know exactly who he is. He's gonna go over and cut like the same exact promos with the same exact character, and I think it'll resonate with that audience. I think it would be huge. Whereas Finn would just be kind of, you know, they have so many guys that's already like Finn.
I think he would get more forgettable. He'd be more forgettable.
Yeah, he would.
Becky would be powerful. I know, right? I'm just getting that time of the show.
Oh, Becky would be huge for their division. You have her and Mercedes?
She would. But I think Drew would just be a better fit. And so with it being a better fit, he would be set up to be more successful.
So who y'all got dethroning Priest?
The Robin Priest. Eventually. Well, I think it's going to be a 2-part question because how long do I think Priest is going to have the title? It'd probably be the first thing I need to think about.
Who's dethroning Priest?
I'm going to returning CM Punk.
I said Punk. Yep.
So you're going Punk to take down Priest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bold prediction. And this ain't happening.
Yes.
But in one universe, the person who brought the tag team champions back to the Judgment Day, our Trizzle.
Man, when he showed up, that was
put that build up.
Man. Damn, and it was fun to see Cena too. That was he's so over the top, like he's so over the top, corny. But the crazy thing is, that's a lot like what he was back in the day. So like you just watch like what Roman brings to the table as the top guy, and then what Cena was bringing to the table. It was like that's why, man, we were in trouble this entire time. But he's really leaning into.
People hated John Cena. Yep.
Yeah, he's really leaning into it. So okay, that's a good one. I would love for it to be Jay. I mean, which they're dealing. They still got big plans for him. He's number one contender now. I don't think. I would love it just because I think he deserves it.
Mm-hmm.
And allegedly they're saying that the plan was 6 months ago was to put the title on Priest at Mania. So like you could say like, oh, maybe the plan is for them to flip it to Jay. It'd be just interesting to your point of like, is he a long-term champion or is he just like a, hey, we want to give you your spot. You've actually deserved everything you've done. And then we move on. I like the Punk one though. I just don't know how you get to, so what you guys have Punk beating Drew and then Punk getting it from Priest?
Sure, because again, I can't count on Drew right now, especially since it was announced that the deal hasn't been signed yet. I can't put him in my thinking yet. So I'm gonna have to act like he's not gonna be there.
Nigga, I don't know what would, like, again, I don't know what's going on, what's on the table, right? Mm-hmm. But I don't see what Drew will be waiting for. Like, right? I can't imagine like the dollar amount being that low to where he's like, nah, I need to hold off. Maybe he wants fewer dates.
Could be.
Right? But you know what Triple H already said about that. Like, oh, you don't want to work?
You running from the grind?
You don't want to work? No, man, get up out of here. Go take the other man money.
He want a better dental plan. He's holding out for that. Better benefits. That's what he wants.
But I will say this though, we haven't gotten to that point though, man. Like I know that the Khans are billionaires,
Mm-hmm.
like right, but all this money they spend on these guys, man. I hope that we start getting a return. I'm just worried that, man, because like you hear these stories about how they're not making money, but they show is spending money. Like, right? Like, I don't know how long that can last from a business standpoint to where, you like, hey, you know what? This ain't working out like well, right? That's what happened in TNA with the Carters. Like, right?
Yeah.
Dad kept giving Dixie money until he said, nope, I'm closing the book up.
Did you hear that story about Dixie Carter being in Gorilla in TNA? Like, she would be there, like, I guess, like every week, always on her phone, like just sitting there on her phone. And she was on Twitter just to see what the fans were saying. And of course, the boys were like, the show is right in front of you. Watch the show to see how the show was good. I guess she would just take whatever Twitter was saying as gospel on if the show was good or not.
Yeah, I heard that. Yep, I heard that.
That's kind of nuts.
Well, maybe that's okay if there was other people doing other stuff, but if you're saying that she was like solely responsible and that was the only way she was getting her feedback.
Yeah.
And this is early Twitter too, Rhodesia. This was early Twitter.
Yeah. I don't know about that. But again, to a billionaire who can okay, what I'm about to say is about to sound really stupid, but just ride with me for a moment. To a billionaire, what is hundreds of thousands of dollars?
Well, no, we ain't talking hundreds. We talking
millions.
We talking.
Yeah.
So then let's talk about like how many millions a year would you say that they're losing? We don't know those figures yet, but But if you're a billionaire,
it's the TV. The TV deal should take care of that. Now, that TV deal that's signed in a few months does not come back at the numbers that we think. And there is, of course, people who can break down these numbers for us when they do come out and say, okay, this is that, this is that, this is that. Just like the Netflix deal for WWE. We first heard that $5 billion number, and it was like, oh my God. And then when you start having like people like Brandon Thurston really break down those numbers, you're like, oh, this is kind of like on par with what they
like a good evaluation. Yep.
Yeah, so we'll see.
I do really hope that they find somebody to pick up the ROH show, and that way we can get Athena from behind that paywall and get her on a larger audience.
Or how about just get her on AEW?
But then she's the champion, and you don't want to see more ROH champions.
That's true. Okay, you're right. My bad. You're right. Yes, please do something with Ring of Honor. Yes. No more belts on AEW TV. What else y'all got from Raw?
I just got two quick things, and I don't know where to go first. I'll go with the funnier one first. Liv Morgan living out her ECW dreams.
Let's go. She smacked her with it. Oh man! And then can we talk about that production piece with Dom pushing the camera out the way, and that camera just took a straight shot into the arena?
Kept going to the ring. Yes.
Now I can see somebody saying like that was hokey. I could see that, but I was like, this is the best thing ever.
I did. I was like, this is gold. I was like, this is gold. This was gold. Because the cameraman reminded me like us as badass kids. Like, okay, what y'all doing over here? Oh, okay, all right, I'm gonna go to work.
And just keep it going.
Like somehow, just keep moving. I'm here for this. I still have an issue with, but evidently she proved me wrong. Someone as short and lean as Liv against someone who's just like about a foot taller than her. It's kind of hard again for me to kind of watch that matchup, but I'm here for it. And then the last part was the Jade and Chelsea 20-minute banger of a match.
I mean, 20-second banger. And when I saw the match, I was like, okay, because I like to be fair. I'm like, okay, granted, it's her first singles match.
Mm-hmm.
Do I start okay, let's see a little bit more? And then I thought about it, and some people may think like I'm shooting Jade and W. Bell. But if, as we know, the majority of their fan base does not watch AEW, she probably shouldn't be working competitive matches yet. Not because she can't do it, but if their thing is to build her as a beast, because Cole's reaction after that was either he said she's coming for everything, or it was something to that effect of like, oh, this is where they're heading. This is not just a 1 week and then next week she's working a 5-minute match. Oh, we're going to be seeing this type of domination from her for a while. So now I was like, all right, well, I'll just reserve judgment. But I did think when she answered the challenge and she beat her with just 2 moves, I was like, all right.
Yeah, I'm gonna shoot bail for right now.
So, people say, oh, you talking out of both sides, right? I'm not really, because I said back in when she was with AEW that her matches was too damn long, especially consider her skill level. I felt like get her in there and get her out. Like, right? So I don't know her skill level is now, but as you said, it's a new audience.
Mm-hmm.
Like, right? And one of the things that worked really well for Goldberg, he hit that spear, hit that jackknife.
Jackhammer,
next? And then
who's next? Like, you don't look, like one of the things that AEW did, like even if she had shorter matches, she still was wrestling like 3 to 4 to 5 minute matches sometimes, right? She was dominating those matches, but in those 2 to 3 matches, you saw some of the shine a little off, right? Because you see her like the in between game that wasn't there, or you see her maybe not do a certain move the right way, or you saw a lot of stuff that you necessarily didn't see. Here, as you said, it's in front of a new audience that I would say probably a good 70% haven't seen anything she did in AEW. Like, right? This is the same crowd that cared less when people were mentioning like Cody and AEW stuff. Like they had
no
I'm
reaction.
sorry, that was CM Punk who mentioned that stuff, and they had no reaction.
Like, nope. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, people like that audience does not care about any of that type of stuff. This is great to rebuild her from their audience. Like, right, again, I don't know what her skill level is. She might be able to wrestle a 20-minute match banger for all I know. But look, she's a gifted athlete. She looks great. She looks the part. Get her in there. Get her in and out. Let's build some like build her like she's a monster.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
You can't build a monster with her, wrestling even Steven matches with Chelsea Green. Now, I would like to see them do something else or something more with Chelsea. I need to see more Chelsea on my TV. I don't know what role they can give her, but she got to be more on my TV. I got to see more of her.
I don't know if I agree. Just because she's incredible at her role, I guess as long as I continue to see her, I'm good.
Because we hadn't seen her in a while, though.
Yeah. Well,
we hadn't seen her in a while.
And now that I think we're past Mania, I think we're going to start seeing these people that didn't have a shot or have a match at Mania. We're going to start seeing them highlighted. But yeah,
I think what
make sure she's
Chelsea,
mainstay.
Yeah, with Chelsea, it goes back down to if you're on TV, then like kind of just shut up and take it, right? But I think because we know what else she can do, that's why I feel that way. That I want her to stop being like such a caricature and like she can't wrestle. This woman can wrestle. Like, and she looks good and she has character. Like let her have some good quality matches, some good showings, the proverbial good showings. But again, not against Jade. But at the end of the day, if we have to get Chelsea this way, I'm fine with it as long as I get to see her. But I do feel like maybe we're not experienced as much as we can from her. But I guess that's just not the story for her character right now.
I got a question for you guys real quick. I know we talked about Damien Priest
when
he came out there with the championship, and like, how do you feel about him as champion right now? Do you think it's like right? Because I know Rhodesia, you've been riding for a long time. Like when you saw him come out with the championship and he had the team around him, do you feel like okay, the champ is here?
No, because I said this like the last 4 months where I thought if they said 6 months ago they thought that maybe he would be taking the championship at Mania, he did kind of a bad job in building him to that point. So I think there was just like a lot of steam taken off of him. I've always been a Damien Priest girl. I thought that he should have been the next champion. So I guess that part of it I feel good about because yeah, he should have been the next one. Or Drew was for 5 seconds, but for me, he's missing that je ne sais quoi. Just because, again, how they build them. But again, Mania's over. We got over the bloodline and Cody's story. Now we have time to build these people up. So, but again, it's going to depend on how long they want Damien as a champion. But he has the size and the look for it. He just doesn't have the aura right now to me. But they can build to that.
we were really hard on Damien night 2 on the pod. I went back and listened to it. And I don't think I really gave my thoughts on it, but Brandon was not high on it. You guys weren't high on it. I think it's perfect because Cody Rhodes is the champion. This is the perfect time to put the belt on Damien. Because, and this is going to sound really bad out, and I apologize, because it kind of doesn't matter who the other champion is right now, especially until we do the draft. Like, Cody's probably going to be on every Raw. It's kind of like, all right, Sammy's the Intercontinental Champion, who they're about to have a banger next Monday with him and Chad Gable.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Doesn't really matter. That's why I kind of wonder if he is a
quick
one and done type champ, because it would really make sense. Well, we don't know what the draft is, so I'll reserve my judgment on that. But that's why I think this is the perfect time for him, is because you're not asking. He doesn't need to lead anything. He quote unquote he deserves it and all that kind of thing. But you still got Cody there. Cody's leading it. We got Sammy there. Sammy's taking a big brunt, and we got Damien Priest, who is finally getting his crack at the championship. Sounds completely different than if he is in that legit Seth Rollins role.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
You know, when I saw it, I'm like, okay, the next championship match is Jey Uso versus Damien Priest. I feel like, okay, this title is definitely the second tier championship.
Mm-hmm.
Like, right? Because like you was because like you know, Seth as the champion, he still was kind of the number 2 behind Roman, right? Roman kept saying that he's number 2, he's number 2. Like, right, but there was some pedigree to it. Now this is definitely the second tier championship.
And Ian, Matt, I think the Damien Priest thing was how we got here. I always thought that he would become champion as a face. I thought he would leave Judgment Day to become.
We talked about that at first, yeah.
Because we didn't get that, that's probably also why it's not sitting perfect with me. But we'll get there. I know we'll get there. But I would want a Damien Priest that had left Judgment Day and to win it on his own.
And let's not forget, he was just a tag champion 48 hours ago. So it's not like that. And that wasn't the main event role. It wasn't like, he was tagging with like some massive superstar. No, he was slotted as just a regular tag team guy, was the champion, and then we give him the world title. So a lot of that is also perception too, because if he was, say, feuding with Drew for a couple months or Punk for a couple months, then we're not having this conversation. But they're going to have to decide, as I'm sure they already know, okay, are we going to try to roll with him for a little bit? Or do we then now tell a story of maybe still the Judgment Day breaking up? Because when I watched the Judgment Day, even like their promo on Monday, which was good, but I'm still like, okay, what's next?
Yeah.
And to me, like, what's next is y'all not together. Like, I don't. Right. I'm ready. I'm ready for this to move on.
But you know what, Matt? Like, what somewhat helps Damien is that the audience is used to seeing him, because he's been featured, even if it hasn't been like in the main event, role, and he's been tag team. Like the Judgment Day, it's all over Monday Night Raw. Like, right? So now he's in the same role, but he has the championship. So maybe that might add extra oomph to when you see them so much on Raw. I wonder, come the draft, do we see them move Judgment Day over to SmackDown to maybe freshen up that act?
But they got to do something. And when I say they, I'd be like, is it they go to SmackDown? Is it somehow they split? Like, are they going to do some type of thing where, like, you have to pick all of the Judgment Day? Because that wouldn't be fair if you say Judgment Day, and
right? You got the women's
and like, no, man, that ain't gonna work. No, we can't do that. Like, all right, y'all can come as a tag team. You pick which two that is, but everybody else, that's not gonna work. And we got to get Bianca and Rhea on the same show. I'm still banging that drum, and that's wherever the Street Profits is gonna be too.
Happy birthday, Bianca! Looking all beautiful.
Yes, happy birthday. She's incredible. We don't play about Bianca. And then my guys are on NXT. I saw the Testament, the New Testament,
the final
Book
Testament.
Of the Testament. Yeah, that too.
Oh, I didn't see the end of that.
Messing all that names up. Jesus.
I don't need the New Testament. I need them broken up. I need them gone.
Where they're Well, I guess if you don't watch Raw or SmackDown, you'll think they are broken up. NXT now. So, and Jada Parker, God bless you. You are doing the Lord's work. You are trending now. I didn't get a chance to watch NXT. Like when I got home, I watched Raw, and then so I got to catch up on NXT. I got to catch up on Dynamite.
You gotta watch the video.
And then I just saw really, really quick. I don't know what I just saw it when I was going on Twitter to find the comments that Will Ospreay took a shot at Triple H. So E, to your point earlier about running from the smoke or running from the hustle, I guess Ospreay has something to say about it. So I'm excited to see what that is. Well, we out here then. We gave y'all an hour and 35 minutes. Shout out to all of y'all that have rocked with us, of course, from day one. But this past week, if you have left a comment, if you have retweeted, if you have watched the video, if you watched us live on X, if you watched the YouTube, if you listened to the podcast, audio night 1 or night 2, and those numbers are still going strong too on the audio side. We had a really big day again today. So shout out to all y'all. Like I always say, tell a friend, tell a family member. But you guys know we do this show for you. This does not continue if it's not for your guys' support. So shout out to y'all. Love y'all. We'll be back on Sunday, our normal, regularly scheduled day. And we'll talk about Dynamite, I'm sure. We're going to talk about the 4 Horsewoman. I'll even throw out what the question is going to be. I want them ranked from 1 to 4.
What are we ranking on?
The 4 Horsewoman.
I know who.
Everything.
Okay.
Yep. Just give it to me. Yep.
From our personal opinion, or for what they've done for the business.
Yep. Your personal.
Got it.
This got to make sense.
Got it.
It's got to make sense. And I have a feeling I wonder if we all have number 4 the same. I think we all may have number 4 the same. So I'm interested to do that. And of course, we'll talk SmackDown and whatever else happens in this crazy world of professional wrestling. Socials, I think I already hit, but that's F&W, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. We're easy to figure out the TikTok. YouTube, that's Freakin Wrestling. We crossed over 500 subscribers. We hit like 70 in like 3 or 4 days. So once again, shout out to you guys for hitting. Now it's onward to 600. So we got to get to 600 on YouTube. That's it. We will be back on Sunday, and we will talk to y'all then. Peace.